Okay, I'd like to start by thanking everybody who is here. And the agenda today will be a little bit about the bargaining timeline and history and how long this has been going on, what's been going on. Very quickly, we're going to have a quick overview of our changes to the CBA as we put them to administrators and university council folks, their proposals and any sticking points that have occurred. We're going to talk about a survey that Steve Lang did about members and what they were thinking about bargaining, and then hopefully have an overview about impasse. What is it? What could happen if we go to impasse? We want our members to know all of that. I'd like to start by telling you who is on the bargaining team. Starting with Bob Welker, our chief negotiator, who has done an outstanding job of representing us. Steve Lang, Greg McComb, Sonia Wohlmuth, Karen Brownsberger, Deborah Sinclair, Frank Pirtle, Steve Permuth, and myself. I'd like to also say that we are 100% unanimously in agreement in our support of Bob and his efforts. And we want you to know that as a team, we all stand together. I also want to thank Art Shapiro, who has been our fearless leader representing us at DOT meetings and with the faculty senate and coming to all the bargaining sessions and keeping up with everything and trying to support us and our efforts. I also want to thank Graham Picklesmeyer, who hopefully will be here today to talk about impasse. He has provided some state level support and expertise to the whole process. So next, very quickly, our contract officially expired December 31st, 2020. We put together about 25 proposals in early December of 2020. The first session for bargaining happened December 11th. It wasn't until July 2021 that they came back and wanted to talk to us again. And they presented us at that time with a take it or leave it package proposal. We had a third session on August 20th, 2021, and then again November 5th, 2021, and that was rescheduled from a session that they canceled on us in October. I'm going to let Bob at the end let me know if I got any of this wrong, but hopefully this is an accurate portrayal of our efforts to date. So bargaining session number 5 was at the end of the year, and that was in person. And again, package deal. And they wanted us to consider scheduling an all-day bargaining session, but then they withdrew their request. We also, in the midst of all of these efforts, we had a COVID MOU that we worked on, and that was signed May 15th, 2020, effective upon ratification by both parties and until the Surgeon General withdraws the declaration of state of emergency. Okay, and now I'm going to switch to let Sonia Wohlmuth present our proposals that we have done with the Board of Trustees.
Okay, thank you. In the interest of time, I'm going to focus on those articles that have substantive changes. So we will actually begin by looking at Article 5.2. In here, the text in blue is the explanation of the change. And the change on Article 5.2 is to make clear that course outcomes, assessments, and assignment of grades are established by the course instructor. The article also recognizes that USF has an appeal process for students to challenge course grades. And now we're going to look at Article 8.4, changes in appointments and supplemental appointments. USF has a number of research faculty who are included in Appendix A of the current collective bargaining agreement. However, heretofore, they have not received promotion raises. And this is addressed by the new language, which is included under number 5 here, and also in Article 14. So on the next slide, we're looking at proposed changes with regard to summer appointment. All of us recognize that there is benefit from students being taught by regular full-time faculty. But due to the constraints of summer budgets, some units at USF have elected to adopt a return on investment model for staffing during the summer. UFF believes that any courses taught in the summer should first be offered to qualified in-unit faculty. The article also involves faculty in the decision-making process through the development of criteria for determining summer assignment and rotation of classes. And next is Article 10.4. 10.4, the text added here seeks to align student assessment of instruction with the evaluation of teaching effectiveness of a faculty member in annual or periodic performance reviews. So 10.4 is the criteria for employee performance evaluations. And we have made changes in A and have added E and F for the purpose of aligning faculty evaluation with the student assessment of instruction. So if the student assessment of instruction is a 3 or greater, then the faculty should be rated as satisfactory for teaching effectiveness. The additions E and F provide an opportunity for faculty to develop criteria for performance evaluations, and these criteria would be subject to a vote in which at least 60% of a quorum of faculty vote to accept the proposal, and the new criteria become effective when presented to faculty at least 3 months before the beginning of the evaluation year. And next, we want to go to Article 17, right? There are two parts of Article 17 for which we propose changes. The first is family and medical leave entitlements. And here we want to begin the start date for 12 months for either intermittent or continuous FMLA leave. The start date should be when the event occurred rather than some arbitrary calendar date. And the second part is change in parental leave is to remove the two items at the end of 17.7, which call for a deduction of parental leave from faculty annual leave or sick leave, and also a requirement for reimbursement if certain criteria are not met. Both of these items would be removed under our proposal. The next is Article 20. So the first item has to do with a step 3 arbitration. Normally, there's an attempt to settle a grievance informally at a step 1 hearing and then a step 2 hearing. If nothing is resolved, then we request arbitration. I won't go into the details of approval for arbitration, but the main thing here is that we are asking that the outside arbitrator at this point determine what articles or what portions of articles would be the subject of the arbitration. And in the next slide, this is 20.15, has to do with mediation. The current contract has tentative language about the establishment of a process, and the idea here is to establish that there is a procedure for non-binding mediation as an alternative to the way in which we usually settle grievances. And next, we want to go to Article 24, benefits. And I'm not going to spend much time on this one because the administration has already taken steps to offer extension of the 2-3 courses per semester to faculty and staff. So we'll go next to Article 28, which is severability. In many ways, this article is the most important part of our collective bargaining agreement because Article 28 establishes a foundational principle, and that is that the collective bargaining agreement will remain in effect even in the event that a portion of the agreement is invalidated either through judicial or legislative action. And this limits changes which come from an outside entity or outside action. Article 29, it describes the effective date and the duration of the contract. Given the current date, we will probably have to adjust the tentative dates that were given in Article 29, because as you can see here, we should begin bargaining the next contract in 5 weeks when we haven't even gotten this contract yet. And so now we'll go to Article 31, which is totality of agreement. And the removal of 31.2 and 31.4 make it clear that both parties retain the right to bargain mandatory subjects of bargaining, that is, terms and conditions of employment. Also in this article, any perceived waivers of this obligation will expire on the date that the current CBA expires. And last is Appendix A, and we anticipate that in the future, the USF will add new positions. And by the language that we've inserted here, we now require approval of the new position titles and accompanying codes by the university president's representative and the UFF president. Both parties also agree to file a petition for clarification of the bargaining unit with the Public Employees Relations Committee, known as PERC of Florida. Thank you. That's the end.